Well, hey friends, today I thought I'd talk a little bit about the mundane side of spider wrenching and how I raise a colony of Peristeatota here in my lab, just because I got a bunch of mundane things to do. So I thought I'd tell you how you can start your very own spider wrench. It's not hard. Okay, what you're looking at here, this is an incubator. It was the cheapest incubator I could get. It's got no fancy cooling or any other features. It's just keeps things at about 28 degrees centigrade or whatever temperature I want to set it at. What you can see in here is it's got some racks, it's got a bunch of spiders in there. This is a finger bowl just full of distilled water because I use that to maintain the humidity here. So you need a place to keep your spiders. Those of you who know centigrade know that 28 degrees isn't that far off from room temperature, so they are just fine at room temperature. You could do without the incubator. The other thing you need is spider food. So here we go. So what that is a bottle of wingless flies and Drosophila medium down there, and you can probably see there's lots and lots of pupae in there, and there's some adults crawling around. We use the wingless strain. It costs about 10 bucks if you buy it from Carolina to get a bunch of these, but then you can keep it going forever as long as you get the medium to grow them in. So we got a bunch of wingless flies, because now if I open the bottle, they don't fly away, which is very handy. What I do though is I transfer a bunch of those flies to this useful little container. So that's just happens to be a disposable plastic cup I found that was exactly the right size to put a petri dish on top of it, so I can quickly whip off the lid and extract a few flies. You see there's a little swarm of them crawling in there right now. So we're going to feed those to the spiders. Then what I do is I raise the spiders in various size containers. So when I first catch them, or when they first hatch out, I've got this. So it's just a test tube rack with a bunch of these plastic tubes, and I put foam caps on them. The plastic tubes are a little tricky to find. I got them from a chemical supply house, a plastic supply house, and I bought like 1,000 of them in a great big box. It wasn't cheap. It was like 100, 200 bucks, somewhere in there. But now I've got a lifetime supply of these things, so I can keep collecting spiders. These are kind of handy because they're about the right size. You can just run out and catch any spider in one of these. It might be a little cramped for the big ones. Now, of course, I'm not talking about tarantulas or things like that, but the kind of spiders we have around here. And you can keep them in here for a while. When they first hatch out, I put the babies in containers like this. And then as they get larger, I graduate them up to bigger sizes of container. So we'll set this aside. Those of you working on a budget at home, just go down to your grocery store. You can get things like this. This is a ziploc container. They're cheap, they're easy, they're just fine. Also, here's another one, a larger size for your larger spiders. So I got a supply of these as well for emergency spillover if I get lots and lots of spiders one day. So they're nice for raising them, but the problem with them is that you can probably see this, they're not perfectly transparent. They induce a lot of distortion in the light. And if you're trying to do microscopy on spiders in these containers, nah, it's not so great. Everything's got kind of a milky gray background. Oops, some of my flies were escaping. I didn't put the lid on tight enough. Anyway, these are the next step up. So I got a bunch of these. These are wonderful containers because they are optically clear, mostly, and you can get good light in them, and they're about the right size for the juvenile spiders. They're a bit cramped if you've got an adult Parasteatota in there, but for the juveniles, they're just fine. What you may notice is I store them upside down, and that's because the spiders like to crawl up to higher altitudes, and that's where they roost. And so I've stored it upside down, and that way when I bring it into the lab, I just flip it over, take the lid off, and there's the spider down there at the bottom, and I can just do whatever I need to, like put flies in there and take photographs, put it under the microscope. It's all good. Okay, these are also all labeled by the line of spider they come from. So green is one line. Let's see, green is are the ones I caught at home, and then we have some I caught from a mother at Runestone Park, and let's see, we've also got some that I caught at the local horticulture garden. So I know the mothers for all of these spiders, which is going to be kind of crucial as we get deeper into breeding these guys. The other thing, let's see, what other tools do you need here? There's a couple tools that's kind of handy to have. Paintbrush. So you don't touch the spiders because they're small and delicate and fragile, and you don't want to crush them. So instead I use a paintbrush to manipulate them, push them around. Same with the flies, you just use a paintbrush to flick flies into their containers. The other thing that's really useful is I got a bunch of these atomizers, so I can mist the spiders with a little gentle rain of teeny tiny little droplets of water. These I got on Amazon. You could just get, yeah, they're cheap. I got a bunch of these. Same with these. I got these from a craft supply place. So there's a lot of cool stuff at craft shops that you can use for raising spiders. Okay, so what am I going to do today? Well, I am going to do a couple of things real quick. I won't make you sit through it all, don't worry. But I have a mission. So, these spiders have been sitting in these containers for about a month. And I don't know if the camera's good enough to detect it, but it's getting pretty filthy in there. There's dead flies all over the place. You can see the fly poop on the bottom of the container. So what I need to do is move them into shiny, new, clean boxes and also feed them. The feeding won't be as effective because they really like catching things in their webs, and it takes them a while to build an elaborate cobweb in here. So the goal, though, is move all the flies into shiny, clean containers, get them some lunch so that they're well fed, leave them alone for about a week so that they will build those nice webs in there. And then the next step is I'm going to try introducing some of the males to the females in here. Oh boy. So that's a little bit risky because, as you may have heard, sometimes spiders get cannibalistic and they eat their potential mates. I don't want that to happen. So what will happen is I will let the females build a nice, comfortable, safe, clean home. Then I will take the lid off. I will leave the lid off when I introduce a male. And we'll just watch the male for a while and see if everything's okay. See if he goes into courtship behaviors and all that kind of thing. And if he doesn't, if there's a hostile reaction, the male can just scamper on out of the container because I'll leave the lid off during this entire thing. And I'll be sitting here with my trusty paintbrush, and if he escapes, I will capture him again, put him back in his own little box, because that could happen. Otherwise, maybe they'll mate and we'll be getting another generation of spiders out of these guys. We'll see. I will try to record it. That will be next week when we actually do the courtship stuff. So today, what am I going to do? Well, Let's start here, and I will show you. So all of these are labeled. As I said, they're color-coded. So I have to transfer the labels to a new container. I'm really trying to keep track of these things. Okay, and what does it take to move a fly? Well, or move a spider. They don't really like moving. They got this nice, comfortable home here. Okay, not that. And so I just kind of nudge them. They have a simple escape behavior, so they like to drop. So if you can get them over the new box. Oh, look at there. He doesn't want to leave. There we go. Oh, there's a danger. They leave webs everywhere. So if you just flick your paintbrush away, they will sometimes be still clinging to it. And there we go. Look at there. It's a nice clean house. Enjoy it. Yeah, she's already spinning webs in there. Okay. Then, of course, they need to be fed. Now, as I said, the feeding may not be as effective because they really like to catch their prey in a nice silken web. But here we just open this up, use the paintbrush. I'm going to flick 2 flies in there who will wander about aimlessly, unaware that they are doomed. And then set the container aside. So that's what I got to do for all these spiders this afternoon. That's my big project. Well, it's not so big. It might take me an hour or so. But everybody's getting moved into new containers. And then next week, about this same time, I'm planning to come in and see if we can get some courtship going. I really need more spiders. I don't have enough spiders. And I got all these containers I want to fill up. Okay, in the old container, I'm going to go put in the sink and start washing. Anyway, now you have seen what the exciting life of a spider rancher is like. I hope you can all try it yourself. It's pretty easy. It's cheap and inexpensive, especially if you go the route of just getting, there's a lot of kitchen utensils that are really good for this, and art utensils, and yeah, just hit up the ladies section of any store, and it seems like they're designed for spider breeders. Okay, that's all I have to say today. I hope you learned something. Hope we can get another generation of spider breeders out there, and I'll be back with a follow-up next week. All right, what you see here is why I have to clean out these containers every once in a while. They get splattered with spider poop, so that's what all that pink and white and speckled stuff is down there. That's just spider poop piling up. One of the interesting things I've noticed is that when you look at these containers, it's almost always dead center in the middle of the container, which suggests to me that the spiders are trying to space themselves out as much as possible. So they might be feeling a little bit cramped in these containers, at least at the size they're at now. So one of the things I'll have to do is, I've got a whole bunch of great big containers that I will move them to later. But it's kind of convenient having them in the smaller ones for now. Okay, I know what everybody's saying now. I showed you how to breed spiders and all that kind of fun stuff, but I didn't show you any spiders. So I'll show you one. It'll be a little bit trickier than usual because they've just been transferred to these new containers, and they are in an exploratory mood, and they're checking the place out, so it's not like they're going to be sitting quietly for me. So first I'll just show you, let's see. So I haven't taken the lid off. We're looking through plastic, which is not optimal. But there, you can see what they're up to. She's just checking everything out, looking around, exploring. And I don't know what she thinks she's going to do there. She's scrabbling at the corner of the box. And no, I'm not going to let you out. But she is looking very pretty. I mentioned that these guys are kind of juvenile. They're not really big for their species. I'm working on that. I'm giving them lots of food to get them to grow. But the males at least have fully developed sexual characteristics. Females, it's harder to tell, which is why I'm going to take a shot at breeding them next week. We'll see. They may just be too young, but what can I do? I'll keep trying until I get a successful mating, and then a successful laying of a large egg sac, and then a successful hatching. So we'll get there. I'm kind of impressed with how well that image is coming up, because I really am looking through plastic to see it. There she is looking at y'all. Zoom in to 40x. Oh, she's so frantic. I feel a little sympathy for her, but you know, you saw that pile of spider poop. It's time to clean house. All right, so I'm going to go leave her alone, and I bet you if I come back tomorrow, she will have built herself a nice little cobweb. She'll be calmed down. She'll be munching on the flies that are walking around in there, and we'll be able to get some better pictures. Okay. Say goodbye. This is M2, by the way. Her parents came from my garage, so they have a good lineage. All right, that's all for now.